Well, Nate and Amanda, thank you so much for hanging out with us. You know, I got to let the church know a little bit about these guys. Nate, you are the best skier I've ever met in my entire life. This guy and I go to Vail one time, and he almost kills me just saying, hey, let's just go down this cliff together, like 20-foot drop, like it's nothing. So Nate, I'm glad I survived that day. But Amanda, we even had a special moment when we first met. I was like the brand new pastor at the church, and I almost fainted on one Sunday while I was preaching. I remember sitting down, and as I'm like losing consciousness, you come and just open up your bag of tricks and start plugging me into stuff and saving my life. So I'm here today for Amanda, but guys, just so grateful to have you guys sitting down and sharing a little bit of your story with us today. And really, the whole reason for us sitting down was, Nate, you actually opened up to me a little while back just about this journey that you guys ended up going on together just around finances and generosity. And you guys are hitting 20 years of marriage here this summer, which is awesome. How about you just give us a little bit of a picture of what did everything, money and giving look like for you guys for most of your marriage?
When we first got married, like so many newlyweds, the way that we felt our marriage was designed is we are one. And that included our finances. As newlyweds, we didn't have a whole lot of money. We weren't living by much. I mean, it was definitely TV dinner nights, a lot of them. And the giving was pretty difficult. We did find a church and we gave, but I would probably say it was very little. And I don't know that my heart was really into it. It was more like checking off a box.
We always had goals that we were going to strive for. And like Nate would tell me, like, when we hit this goal, then we'll give more. When we hit this goal, when we get out of debt, when we pay off our student loans, when we pay off that car payment. Well, we did. We got out of debt, but we never went further with our giving. So there was actually one year when I asked Nate about the year-end giving statement, and he said, well, we didn't get one because we didn't give this year. And I thought, oh.
And it was about that time when I realized I started realizing, man, this is getting worse and worse for me.
Now, Nate, you actually reached out to me a little while ago and really told me about this journey that you guys started to go on, kind of like a pivot moment in your whole lives when it came to just relationship with money and all these things. So maybe walk us through kind of what happened, what led you to eventually have this kind of shift in your lives.
About 2 years ago, I had an epiphany of sorts that, you know what, Amanda is trusting me to be financially responsible for our family, and I am not tithing for our family. She is expecting me to be tithing, and she's been pushing me and asking me, and trying to hold me accountable, but I'm falling short. So not only am I failing God, but I realize I'm also failing my own wife, who is depending on me to tithe on her behalf as well. I always had thought about how, again, we grew up in the church. I believe in God. I believe that Jesus died for our sins. I believe in the Word, but why wouldn't I believe to take that next step and give? And I had been struggling with this now for 15 years, and I knew that money was my lid. And I internally was just telling him, all right, God, you're telling us to test you, I'm testing you. I am scared to death that we're gonna go negative or our savings is gonna go away. I don't know what's gonna happen. So I had that conversation with him, and right then and there, it was like pulling a Band-Aid off. I started opening up and giving to the church. I signed up for auto pay in the church, and the rest is history. I can remember it very well. The next morning I woke up, and it was just this massive burden that was lifted off of me. I mean, it was very surreal, but I could feel instantly, maybe that was probably one of God's blessings, I'm sure, but instantly I could feel a relief the next day, and I never looked back since. It was almost a year on the dot that I was giving, that I decided to give faithfully, not just the pennies on the dollar, but real giving.
Sacrificial.
Sacrificial giving And it was about a year to the time that I did that a specific door opened for me within my work that I'd been waiting for like 10 years. Now, some people may say, oh, well, that was just a coincidence, but I refuse to accept that. I'd been waiting and pushing so hard for it, and God provided the opportunity at the right time.
So, Nate, one thing that was always just absolutely fascinating to me about some of our conversations is, I've been in ministry for some years now, and to this day, you are the only single person I've ever encountered who actually confessed this struggle with what you actually called greed. That was the word you used. I've never in my life, I've heard people confess so many different things, but you're the only one who's actually come to me and said, you know what? Greed is the thing I'm trying to overcome in my life. And so what even led you to choose that word in particular? And why do you think that is just such a hard thing to see in our own lives?
I think I was just at a point that I had to own up to what it was that I was dealing with. And I had to give it a name, and not a friendly name. I mean, and there was no other word that could come to mind. I mean, I was literally putting my savings and my money and my finances, or our finances, before God. So there's no other word that I could have given it other than greed. And when you can own up to what it is that you're struggling with, well, you've taken the first step.
Now, guys, there's a lot of people probably watching this video and they're like, okay, good for you guys. Glad you're able to take some steps, but we all feel just that hesitation, that fear, wondering, how does this work? Is it gonna work? Is there gonna be enough? So what would you guys say to that person, maybe even that couple like you that is thinking, it's just not gonna work for us?
God will come through. It's real. And I know the fear that you have, I know the anxiety that you have, the anxiousness that you feel, and I can relate to that. I went through it, I battled through it for over 15 years, but when I finally released myself of that, we saw blessings start pouring down. So those blessings are real.
That the blessings have continually to flow. Again, there's less burden, like there's not that stress, there's not that tension between us. And so just do it. Just do it. It's worth it.